is Laura with Intuitive Dreams, and welcome to another wonderful art piece. This one, I have to say, seems very different from things I have done in the past. For this client, after I did the reading, I got this feeling of something called the Russian dolls. And if you're not familiar with that, you could look it up. But it's like one doll nests into the next one. So for this art piece, I did do a sketch first. And at first I got something like they were like this way. But it didn't work out that well when it came to making the art piece. So I just put one after the other, a little bit smaller than the other. And this one is like in front of the other. They are, it's like, think of it like this is one particular lifetime. This is a different one. Another. These two are joined together. Okay. So what we're going to start with is the writer. They want me to go to this one first. Now this one is about past lifetimes. In this lifetime, she was a male, so this reading was for a female. Sometimes we come in the lifetime as the opposite sex, things of that nature. And for that lifetime, I got the image of a poet and a writer. And for this, the person was, I don't know if I want to say, I think I want to say slave labor. This person was working on making the train tracks at that point in time in history. And they were always carrying around like a little notebook or something to scribble on. And they came from a family that taught them how to read, and they had a lot of, I guess you could say, an upper class upbringing, because the mom was a maid and her kids got to do things with the people that she would take care of. Her kids got to participate in learning how to play piano, learning how to read, and things of that nature. And that was her condition on his mom's condition in that point in time. And so he had a lot of skills. And so the main thing of this, if you see under here, we have, this is the main aspiration, the main soul growth phrases that came out. We have a writer and perfection. And up above it is an angelic Reiki symbol by Georges Milanis. So all these Reiki symbols are by Georges Milanis. You can write them down and utilize them, focus on them, meditate with them, use them in a Reiki practice if you want, okay? So she can look at this art piece and connect with this energy. And this is about angelic perfection, which is beyond what we think it means, okay? It's not about being the best of the best or having all your ducks in a row. It's about being okay with where you are in life and that you're perfect just the way you are, okay? So that's what that symbol symbolizes, okay? And in the lifetime, back to this lifetime about this guy who's like a poet, a writer, and what ended up happening is he always was writing on everything, had many aspirations. But the problem is, for that time period, he didn't have enough access to make his dreams come true. And so what he ended up doing is he wrote down all his poetry and gave it to people that he knew of an upper class and asked them to publish under their name, and then he would get royalties for, the books and things of that nature. So that's how he got around that. So this is also about, ingenuity. Now this first lifetime, as you can see, the Russian doll, this doesn't look like what, if you look up Russian dolls, what they typically look like. I kind of took it and morphed it into what I felt worked. So this is the heart, and out of it is a lot of growth. So this is like, think of it like a strawberry with plants and leaves and vines growing out of it. So in this lifetime, which was a humanitarian, she came from a family that devoted themselves to helping others. And she got pretty big, they're telling me. Like in this lifetime, she used, I guess, food and other things and substances to keep herself, I guess you could say, she got bigger to use her weight as a wall of protection. So in this lifetime, there were weight issues and also stomach issues and things with the nervous system. And what they told me is that she helped so many people, was such a giving person, it took a toll on her body. So what you could take away from this is that care for others, but don't carry. Okay? These kind of have little lessons in that with them, okay? This guy overcame and figured a way around the system and still got his books published. For this person, they sacrificed, they absorbed a lot of energy from others, and they built a wall of protection using weight. Also, this person, in this lifetime, very strong and stood up to people, okay? What we have here, the main, like soul lesson here was expansion. And this is the angelic symbol, okay? Angelic Reiki symbol, angelic expansion. So again, if she wants to embody this expansion, perfection, principles, insight, she can utilize it connecting with this, with her guardian angels, asking her guardian angels to help her to tune into that energy. And, if you're somebody that's into your past lives and knowing what you have done previously, this is a good one for that. You can connect to that version of you, and I'm just going to give you a short exercise. You can work with your guardian angels and your higher self and create a doorway in your mind or think about it. And on the other side is that version of you that you want to connect to if you know about the lifetime, and ask, okay, I'd love to embody, their genius or the way that they were able to heal people. Okay. Now we're going to this one here, is a healer. So for this one, I got more of working with nature to help heal people. So this might be like what we would call an herbalist today. Someone who was very intuitive, had a high insight and intellect. Also, kind of knew people well, how to interact, like a little bit of psychology going in there. In this lifetime, she was, what do they want to say? In this lifetime, she was in a big family. She was raised like they kind of lived out in the woods. It's like more than 7 kids. And she was just thrown into the mix. Well, she had to oftentimes fend for herself, stand up for herself. That's another one coming up again. Standing up for yourself, what you believe in. So these would be things that she could bring into her life now. So the person that got this art piece. And for anyone watching, if anything I'm talking about resonates, take it and apply it to your life, okay? But what we got is that she ended up, so we have a bird here. She ended up working with animals, nature, birds in particular. She did something with like pigeons and helping with, how people would attach messages to pigeons and then send them to other places. That she was a part of that, helping with making that network happen. Now with this one, principles. And this is the symbol here. What they want to say for this one is, this is about her knowing what her standards are in life, what she will and won't do, and when enough is enough, saying no when needed and saying yes when needed. Now, I think in that lifetime, she had, what I got is, she was somebody that just kind of blended in and was able to, I guess you could say, a jack of all trades, able to have a lot of skills, be flexible and have a lot of skills. So that's something that a lot of people need right now, because if you look at the job market, that a lot of people are getting laid off, and they're having to, like, they're 50 something years old, and they have to stop their career and start over somewhere else. You know, the older people getting laid off of something they thought they were going to retire on, you know, so I'm just using that as an example. Or the younger people trying to get these different jobs, and then it turns out it's a ghost job, it's a fake job. And it's like being flexible. She also followed her passions, did what made her feel good, and helped her to succeed in life. So this is a lot of, people need a lot of this energy right now in the humanitarian one, but in balance. So this person, they did get very sick because they overgave. So you want like a good combination of these different creative elements. Now this one, in this past lifetime, what they told me is, this isn't about just one specific lifetime that she was a mother. It was that she had several lifetimes being a mother, okay? But they are telling me one that's connected to this, okay? We have insight is the key theme and soul lesson here, okay? What I got is, she had a lot of observing and watching what people, you know, like, you know how you say, watch what people do versus what they say. That was a lot of what she was observing in that particular time period. Now for this one, the lifetime that they did give me was that she, in this lifetime, she was a young female, and she got married. Her parents made her marry this man, you know, things of that nature. And she ended up being barren. She couldn't have kids. And what ended up happening is she saw that there was an orphanage that was in town. And she decided to go and volunteer her time there, or to work there. There was lots of orphans at that time, and she was helping them, learning and growing with them. Now they want to talk about something connected with this, about orphans throughout history. Like there's a lot of things where people were orphans, and it's not just about like a tragedy of like their parents got killed or something like that. It's more of that people did not want to, back in the time, those time periods, you know, we still have it going on today, you know, depending on where you live, where your parents are determining your future. Everything's set in stone. You have to do everything that they want. And a lot of souls coming down didn't want that anymore. So they said, make me an orphan. And so that's why there's like these periods in time where there's a mass amount of orphans, because there's people wanting to break out of the system of that time period, not continue the rules or what's going on. They wanted to start something new, a new generation of something, okay, or a new way of life. They didn't want to come down into a family lineage of abuse and trauma and then just repeat that. For this lifetime, what they told me is that she was an invaluable person, and she ended up doing it for the rest of her life. She ended up volunteering at the orphanage, petitioning for food and care for them. Okay, they're also showing me another lifetime now is coming out where she was like a nun, and she was somebody that would petition for certain areas to have their needs met, at like water, food, things of that nature, care, bring up injustice. Now, we're going down to this last part here. We have inner child twin completion. This one is interesting. I have not, when I've done a lot of past life readings or Akashic record readings, I never got one quite like this one. So essentially, this is the client before she came into this lifetime where she was a twin. She said to her spirit team, you know, like her spirit team, God, everyone helping her to kind of, you know, pick what she wanted for the lifetime. And she said, I don't want to come down and keep repeating stuff. I want to be able to see my mistakes right away and correct it. And then the solution of being born a twin came about, so that she could see, like the twin was a mirror. And so the twin would show good or bad aspects of the personality. And then she would look at it and be like, okay, I don't want to be that way. I'm going to act different. You know, I'm going to go in a different direction. So the twins mirrored each other. It was like, think of it like you have somebody that looks exactly like you, and whether they're good twin, bad twin, whatever they're doing, you can look at that and think about, wow, is that me? Have I done that before? Maybe I can recalibrate myself or change direction. So that's why they were a twin. You know, like some people want to go into, oh, they're just twin flames or twin souls, and they want to get all in that romantic stuff. But a lot of these things in between lifetimes is more about, what could I do to get down here to burn through the lessons fast, or learn what I need to learn so then I can enjoy life more, you know, or how can I stay on track? And what they told me is that oftentimes the other twin would be on the dark side of the force. She was the light side, the twin was on the dark side. So they always kind of balanced each other out. And I think that's all for that one. And so we got completion. So this is like completing a cycle within yourself using the twin dynamic to see. It's like you have an active walking, talking mirror. They often would feel each other, like if somebody got hurt or something was going on, they could sense those things within each other. So that was one of the most dynamic lifetimes that she had in that aspect. She got to work on her inner child also through being connected to this. And so that is everything. If you guys are interested in getting an intuitive art piece, just see the link in the description. And I always tell people that there is a waiting list, okay? Usually I'll do the reading pretty quick, but to get the art piece, sometimes it could take up to a month. It just depends on how many people buy one and what's going on in that time period. And we're just going to say millions of angels to bless everyone, to bless everything going on in the world right now, going to our world leaders, going to our scientists, government officials, to work on our behalf for the greatest good. And with that, take care, guys.